Morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday and Netflix earnings. Netflix is up after earnings yesterday, almost 15%. Who would have thought it's going to go so high? This is driving all the indices up. You can see pre-market, all the indices, S&P 500 up 0.53%, Nasdaq is up 1%, Dow Jones is up almost 0.33%. Russell 2000 also, you can see it's higher. All these are in the sell zone, guys. Just note this. You can see red lines. All these are in sell zone. This is not the area you want to be buying. You have to be very careful here. You can see all these indices. SPY will open on a gap up. 0.5% triple Q is going to open on a gap up. There was also a gap here. It's touching that. That's why it's so important to know that the gap's going to be filled, and it's filling this gap. Dow Jones also opening on a gap up, so we have to be very careful. Hit the like button, guys, if you like the content. I will share more details very soon, and please share this channel with friends and family. And let's go to our daily chart. And by the way, guys, if you want to know more about these zones, subscribe to my channel. There is a join button in the description of this video. I share these levels with my subscriber every every hour, and you can make a very informed decision, and it's very helpful. Okay, so let's start with our zones here. So you can see RSI is going towards red line. That's an area you want to be shorting. Okay, as soon as we go touch this red line, usually it comes back down. You can see every time we touch this red line, that's where we're going to enter. Now the targets are here. I was telling everybody that it's possible we could go touch this red line, top red line, which is around 63.37. That's first target, but it never goes straight up. Okay, there's going to be pullback, and we are very close to touching this red line. So we have to be very careful on the RSI, and that will be it's setting up a very good short opportunity in my opinion. So be very careful being a bull here. And in terms of daily chart, SPX. So looks like this cycle might be shifted a bit. I was expecting this down cycle here, so I have to adjust it. I will do it later. So I think it could be something like this here, where looks like this made a bottom here, and I have to adjust these, and probably these also will be adjusted according to that. So this could be, so I have to think about it today, and I will figure it out. So anyhow, so if this is the case, then this might be in a rising phase right now, and then it's going to come back down. So we'll see. It's opening on multiple gap ups. So you can see S&P 500 MES chart already going higher. Okay, so you can see how many gaps it created. So if I go to 1 hour chart, you can see here gap up here, massive gaps, not even small gaps. These will be filled, guys. So we do need a pullback to fill some of these gaps, and we have to be very careful if you are a bull here. And if you look at the SPY chart, you can see all these gaps, and you can see we're opening at previous all-time high. So we have to be very careful. They can start to pull this down as market opens, try to fill some of these gaps sooner than later. Nasdaq, same thing here. Triple Q going to fill this gap. If I go to NDX chart, this gap was here around 21,774. They could go. There's another gap here uh, at previous high. They could try to fill that as well, but just be careful for a pullback. Triple Q, you can see it's opening right on this gap, and Dow Jones. Same thing, opening on a gap fill with multiple gaps, sorry, gap up with multiple gaps down. IWM is flat, but there's still some gaps here as well. And let's go to Bitcoin now. Bitcoin is cooling down after a 9 count sell signal yesterday, just cooling down. Now, if it comes back to this area, this is demand zone here, so around 91, 90,000. So let's see if it's going to come back, pull here. But even as long as it's above this previous low, which is around 89, 90K, it's going to be nice lower high, higher low, and then it's going to keep going higher. One thing to note, it's made a new high with divergence on RSI and PPO, so we have to be careful. This could be a fake out, but I don't want to say anything right now. In terms of gaps, there's a gap around 77K. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when, so just be careful. Ethereum, this gap right on top here around 34.95, then gap around 39.40. So they might be trying to fill that gap at some point. If it breaks down, there's a gap around 22.36. So just keep that in mind. Let's move on to commodities. Oil is cooling down, finding support on these blue lines, 200 EMA and 200 SMA. So nice pull, a nice pump, and then coming down. There's a gap here, so just be mindful of that. Massive gap down. This happened on January 16, Thursday. I'm not sure what was the reason, but this gap should be filled at some point. So just keep that in mind. I am expecting another pump. CNQ had a nice recovery yesterday. Tried to close above this green line, but still not able to. Let's see if today they can keep continuing higher. There's some resistance coming on these blue lines. We'll see if it can go. This still looks like a higher low if it breaks above this previous high, 33.48. So we'll see how it goes. XLE just consolidating above all moving averages. As long as it holds here, it can build a bull trend and then it can start to bounce higher. Hang Seng Index, after 9 counts buy signal going higher, this still can be lower high before it goes lower, so just keep that in mind. Bond market is above white line 20 moving average, but in front of some resistance here, so just be careful here. It could be a good short opportunity, but let it clear this resistance area if you want to be long on bond. Natural gas, again pullback, looking for a pullback to fill this gap, 3.56. Also, there are some other gaps here, but let's focus on this gap for now. Seasonality wise, it's weak in February and March, so looking for pullback. Gold is looking for a new high, change in trend, higher lows. Long term, it's a buy the dip, but this is a nice area around 2400 if you want to wait till that happens. Silver also a bit weaker than gold, but again, this is lower high, lower low, so different. It's selling different story than what gold is saying. Not sure why. Copper is again above all moving averages. Little bit cooling down. Let's see if it can take a pump from here. Sugar is in the buy zone, getting a 9 counts buy signal yesterday. This is a nice one of the best trades I think right now in terms of commodities in the buy zone. Very nice to buy here. Wheat finally trying to go higher. Let it close above these blue lines. And then corn is 9 counts sell signal, but again buy the dip. Dollar is kind of cooling down, but coming in some buy zone here, some support area here around 106, 107. So I think this can find support and start to bounce from here. If you go to 1 hour chart, there's also a gap here, so just keep that in mind. If dollar pumps, then gold and Bitcoin can go a little lower. Apple is like a good buy here, near 200 EMA SMA. It could fill this gap around 216, 217. So just keep that in mind. They could try to fill that gap and then it can start to bounce. Netflix, I said. Let me check if this is working. Okay, yeah, it's going towards this previous. Oh, there's nothing at the top. Just brand new high near $1,000. Unbelievable, unbelievable pump. That's all I can say. But one thing to note, this is gonna be on a big divergence. This new high gonna be divergent. Let's let market open and we'll see how this thing comes up. Apart from that, NVDA closed good. Already pumping, going touching previous high, up 3.73%. All these are already up. So other than Microsoft is still a good buy, but I think other than Microsoft, everything else is at new all-time high. So I'm not gonna touch. Apple is looking very interesting, but apart from that, everything else is not looking good. Tesla is just remember there are gap around 400, there's gap around 454, so um, this still could be a lower high if it breaks below this previous low around 374. There is massive support here around 300, 330, so that would be an area to buy again if that goes. Apart from that, UNH looks like a nice recovery. And Johnson and Johnson is down 2% after earnings, so but near some support area here as well. Um, yeah, I don't see anything much interesting. We'll see Dollarama here trying to bounce from 200 EMA SMA. We'll see how things go. If you guys have any particular stock you want me to review, put a comment and we'll discuss it tomorrow. Uh, VIX is fill this gap. Now more gaps at the down and one major gap at the up. So let's see if it's going to go down, fill some of these gaps. If not, then it's going to go high, which is going to be bad for market. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Hit the like button on your way out, and I'll talk to you by tomorrow.